fit the agenda. Let's get into Angel McCoughtry's hating ass.
We're circulating the same players over and over again that we're talking about, the same 10. AZ Fudd, Caitlin Clark. What about Enrique? What about Kelsey Mitchell?
Enrique Bricks. We talk about Kelsey Mitchell all the time. Angel McCoughtry. See, we're 8 minutes in and I already can't stand it. What do people do with the NBA? They recycle the same players. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James.
Look at that body language. Look at that tone. That's not analysis. That's resentment. Angel McCoughtry just spent 30 seconds complaining that the media talks about the same 10 players over and over. The same complaint we've heard from Sheryl Swoopes. The same complaint we've heard from dozens of former players who can't seem to accept what's actually happening in women's basketball right now. But here's what makes this fascinating. She has her own podcast. She controls her own platform. She can talk about literally anyone she wants. And yet, every single episode, she finds a way to circle back to Caitlin Clark.
Than she ever could have imagined. She brought up Hailey Van Lith a year ago. Oh, Hailey Van Lith. She's only drafted because of her clout. Okay. You bring up Angel Reese a year ago. You brought up Angel Reese during her rookie season. Oh, Angel Reese. Angel Reese. If I was getting paid all this money, I'm paying my teammates too. Huh? Wait, what? And now here you are talking about Caitlin Clark, saying Caitlin Clark is dominating the WNBA conversation. The league is about more than just one.
There it is. The pattern laid out perfectly. First it was Hailey Van Lith. She's only drafted because of her clout. Then it was Angel Reese during her rookie season. If I was getting paid all this money, I'd be paying my teammates too. And now it's Caitlin Clark. The league is about more than just one or two players. Notice what all three of those players have in common. They're all bringing unprecedented attention to women's basketball. They're all making more money than McCoughtry ever did. And they're all doing it while McCoughtry watches from the sidelines with a microphone in her hand.
Ben, the ratings. Well, we got a little bit of ratings for you. I got a little bit of ratings for you. The first WNBA game on USA. Las Vegas Aces versus the Los Angeles Sparks. On USA Network on a Sunday. On a weekend. 529,000 views. USA Sports, the PR team, they couldn't wait to celebrate. Oh, this is a huge success! 529,000!
Let's talk about those numbers for a second, because this is where the jealousy becomes impossible to ignore. The first WNBA game on USA Network, Las Vegas Aces versus Los Angeles Sparks, pulled 529,000 viewers. USA Sports couldn't wait to celebrate it. They put out press releases. They called it a massive success. Then, 4 days later, the Indiana Fever played Portland on the same network. Caitlin Clark didn't even play that game. She was out with a lower back injury. The announcement came last minute. People could have turned it off immediately, but they didn't. 680,000 viewers. A Caitlin Clark-less Indiana Fever team outperformed Asia Wilson and the defending champion Aces by 151,000 viewers. Just being associated with Caitlin Clark, just being her teammates, drew more eyeballs than the league's reigning MVP.
Anthony Edwards, Nikola Jokic, Jalen Brunson, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Victor Wembanyama. Recycle. What do we do in the NFL? Well, the NFL is more of a team-led sport, so we recycle the same teams. The Dallas Cowboys. Are you new to this whole sports talk stuff? Again, you have your own podcast. You could talk about whomever you want to.
This is where McCoughtry's argument completely falls apart. She's asking why people don't want to watch when Caitlin's not playing. She's confused why fans lose interest when the star isn't on the court. Has she never watched sports before? Does she not understand how the NBA works? Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, Nikola Jokic, the same names recycled endlessly. The NFL does the same thing with teams. The Dallas Cowboys get primetime slots whether they're good or bad because people tune in for the Cowboys. This is how sports media has worked for decades. You build around your stars, you promote your biggest draws, you give people a reason to care. And right now, Caitlin Clark is that reason for women's basketball.
She's the star, you goofball. She's the star of the team. She's the face of the league. I was watching a Pope video the other day. Salute to the Pope. I was watching a Pope video, and he connected a dot for me without realizing he connected a dot. So Pope, if you're watching this, salute to you. He connected a dot for me, maybe for many of you, without even realizing he connected a dot. Talking about Tiffany Hayes,
Here's something that clicked for me recently while watching another creator break down Caitlyn's game. He was talking about Tiffany Hayes getting hit with a logo 3, and he asked a simple question. If you posterize somebody, wouldn't you talk trash? That's when it hit me. Caitlin Clark's logo 3s are the WNBA equivalent of a poster dunk. Think about it. Nobody in that league can physically rise up and yam it on someone's head. The athleticism just isn't there for those kind of highlight dunks. But Caitlyn can pull up from 40 feet, splash it in your face, and talk all the trash she wants. Those logo 3s are her posters. And just like in the NBA, when you get posterized, you have to take it. That's why we're drawn to those moments. That's why those clips go viral. She's doing something nobody else in the league can do. Night after night after night.
Nightly.
Is on Indiana that are interesting to watch. If these 10 that we rotate in the media and the brands were not playing,
Name 5 players on the Indiana Fever that are interesting to watch outside of Caitlin Clark. Name 5 of them. AB, all right, whatever. Kelsey Mitchell, okay. And who else? All right.
Anybody come watch the WNBA?
Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
It's possible to say both of these things. I do think Caitlin Clark and the boom of the attention that was around her coming out of college brought a ton of new fans to the W. And for that,
keep in mind, this person on the bottom made their bones in the business.
Now watch this exchange carefully, because this is where the media's narrative completely contradicts reality. The person on the bottom of that screen, that's Ros Goldon-Woody. You know how she built her career, following Steph Curry around for TNT Sports. When the Golden State Warriors were going off, when Steph was breaking the league, Ros was there for every big moment. She interviewed him between quarters, she got the post-game exclusives. She became a recognizable face in sports media specifically because she had access to the biggest star in basketball. She wasn't interviewing Andrew Bogut. She wasn't tracking down Sean Livingston for in-depth features. She built her entire brand around proximity to Steph Curry. And now she's on television saying the WNBA's success is definitely not only because of Caitlin Clark.
Following Steph Curry around as Steph Curry was going off. The person on the bottom, Rose Goldon-Woody, we know who she is because she worked for TNT Sports as Steph Curry was going off, and TNT always had the Golden State Warriors games, and she would always be the one to interview Steph Curry.
That deserves a lot of credit. But I think a lot of those fans were converted. They got here.
Why wasn't she interviewing Andrew Bogut? Why wasn't she interviewing Sean Livingston in between quarters? We all know why.
And they became Indiana Fever fans because that team was really special, even without her. Or WNBA fans. The ratings continue to be through the free.
A rising tide lifts all boats. There it is, year 3 of this nonsense phrase being used to diminish what's actually happening. Let me ask you something. If Caitlin Clark never entered this league, do you honestly believe these ratings would be anywhere close to where they are now? The WNBA averaged 394,000 viewers per game in 2024. That's up 170% from the previous season. Attendance increased 48% league-wide. The playoffs saw record viewership across every single round. Merchandise sales exploded, sponsorship deals multiplied. And every single one of those increases correlates directly to Caitlin Clark's arrival. Not Angel Reese, not Cameron Brink, not the entire rookie class combined. One player changed everything. But we're supposed to pretend it's some magical rising tide that has nothing to do with the generational talent drawing millions of new fans.
Freaking roof. Business is booming. Everything is up. It's definitely not only because of Caitlin Clark.
Yes, it is. A rising tide lifts all boats. Here we are with this dumb shit yet again going into year 3. A rising tide lifts all boats. You people really think that if she never went into this league, these ratings would be this high? Are you people that dense? Are you that thick in the head? Are you that clueless to what's actually going on here?
Here's what really gets me about McCoftry's complaints. She keeps saying women's basketball is bigger than 1 or 2 players. She wants the conversation to be about the entire league. She wants equal coverage for everyone, but that's not how she built her own career. Angel McCoftry was a 5-time All-Star. She was the #1 overall pick in 2009. She won championships overseas. She made her name by being exceptional, by standing out from everyone else. She didn't get to the top by demanding equal attention for all players. She got there by being better than the competition. Now she's mad that someone else is doing exactly what she did, except at a level she never reached. The hypocrisy is staggering. And here's the part that should terrify the WNBA. What happens if Caitlin Clark decides she's done with this? What if she looks at all the jealousy, all the cheap shots, all the bitter former players tearing her down, and says, you know what, I'm going to play overseas where they'll actually appreciate me. Because that's not a hypothetical. She could make more money in Europe. She could play in front of fans who actually celebrate her success instead of resenting it. She could avoid the constant media circus and just focus on basketball. If she leaves, those ratings collapse overnight. That attendance boost disappears. Those sponsorship deals dry up. The WNBA goes right back to playing in empty arenas while the library next door is too loud to study. The league needs Caitlin Clark infinitely more than she needs the league. And every time someone like Angel McCoughtry goes on their podcast to complain about her getting too much attention, they're making it easier for her to walk away. Think about that for a second. These former players are so consumed by jealousy that they're actively working to drive away the one person who's actually saving their league. They're so bitter about not getting the same opportunities that they can't see how they're destroying the opportunities that exist right now. Sheryl Swoopes made up lies about Caitlin's age and her college career. Diana Taurasi said she'd struggle with the physicality of the pro game. Cheryl Miller questioned whether she could handle the pressure. And now Angel McCoughtry is out here acting confused about why people want to watch the most exciting player in women's basketball. It's not confusion, it's not genuine concern about league-wide coverage, it's jealousy, pure and simple. They played in empty gyms. They made poverty wages compared to what today's stars earn. They watched the WNBA struggle for relevance year after year after year. And now someone comes along and fixes all of that in one season, and they can't stand it. You know what the saddest part is? These players could be celebrating. They could be saying, we laid the foundation, and now look what's being built on top of it. They could be embracing their role as pioneers who made it possible for the next generation to thrive. Instead, they're tearing down the person who's actually delivering on the promise they never could fulfill. The WNBA has a choice to make. They can listen to the bitter old guard and try to spread attention equally across the league, promoting players based on some misguided sense of fairness rather than actual star power. Or they can recognize that Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent who's bringing unprecedented growth, and they can build their entire marketing strategy around maximizing that moment. Because here's the reality, those new fans McCoughtry is so worried about. They didn't come for women's basketball as some abstract concept. They came for Caitlin Clark. They came to watch logo threes and no-look passes and 30-point triple-doubles. They came for must-see TV that happens to feature women instead of men. Some of those fans will stick around after Caitlin's gone. Some will become genuine WNBA fans who follow multiple teams and players, but most of them won't. Most of them will drift away the same way people stopped watching the Bulls after Jordan retired. And that's okay. That's how sports works. You maximize your moment while you have it. Angel McCoughtry had her moment. She was the face of the Atlanta Dream for a decade. She got her shine. She made her money. And now it's someone else's turn. And that someone else is operating at a level McCoughtry never approached. So when she goes on her podcast and complains about the same 10 players dominating the conversation, what she's really saying is, why isn't anyone talking about me anymore? When she questions why people don't want to watch without Caitlin, what she's really asking is, why didn't people care this much when I was playing? The answer is simple, Angel. You weren't that good. None of you were. You were excellent players in a league nobody watched. You were the best of a generation that couldn't break through to mainstream relevance. And now someone has broken through, and instead of celebrating that achievement, you're bitter that it wasn't you. That bitterness is going to be your legacy, not the all-star appearances, not the championships, not the Olympic medals. The thing people will remember is that when women's basketball finally got its moment, when it finally broke through to the mainstream, the old guard spent their time tearing down the person who made it happen. So here's my question for you. Do you think Angel McCoughtry has a point? Is the WNBA really bigger than one or two players? Or is she just another bitter former star who can't handle being irrelevant? Let me know in the comments because this conversation is far from over. And if you want to see more breakdowns of the WNBA's behind-the-scenes drama, hit that subscribe button, because as long as the old guard keeps throwing shade, I'll be here to call it out.